was
Hey,
cool.
welcome everybody. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. This is Unveiling the Truth 333 with Robin Hyatt, and I have a couple of really awesome guests today that we're going to have a lot of fun talking about awesome things that you are very interested in. So grab your coffee, stick your PJs, and just listen to a great show. So I want to introduce Amy and Daniel from Idaho MUFON, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves because they have a really good history, and I probably can't do it justice, but you guys can. So let's start with Amy. Amy, also, I want you to answer why you took on Idaho MUFON too.
Okay, well, first, my name is Amy Bond. I'm the state director for MUFON Idaho, and it's also a nonprofit organization that we've created as well. So they're one and the same, but it's the state chapter of MUFON Global, which is the biggest civilian-run data collections organization where anybody, just absolutely anybody who has had an experience can report, and then we do investigations on it and help you put some clarity to it. And that includes close encounters of the first, second, third, and fourth kind. And we can talk about that later. That's kind of Daniel's specialty with that. Anyways, I had a pretty normal growing up life, except for the fact I'm a lifetime contactee. But as far as like being a Gen Xer, typical Gen X, ran around without any supervision most of my life. And I'm a mom of 2 adult children. I've been married for 32 years, and I was in healthcare for almost 30 years as well before I've retired. And now this is what I'm doing full time.
Okay. Great. And Daniel, I haven't met you, so today's our first meeting. And so can you introduce yourself so I can get to know you also?
Yeah, well, thank you again, Robin, for having us on the live. And it's great being able to be here with everyone that is watching. My name is Daniel Nichols. I'm a lifelong experiencer. It started when I was at early age in Northern California. I won't go too deep into it, but right now, but it was... had a lot of paranormal experiences with my family. Tried to find a lot of answers early on, couldn't find it in religion, and kind of took me down an interesting path. And I was involved with remote viewing at one point for 4 years, helping people get out of human trafficking. That was something that I was not expecting to get into, but it kind of, as these things kind of tend to happen, they find you. And so, I did that and then got out of it. Through that process, had a lot of things like past life memories and other things kind of flood back, and then realized the NHI connection later on. And so really got into this field about 3 years ago, and started making those connections. And so I got involved with MUFON in part because I wanted to connect with other experiencers, but also just get a little bit more hands-on with understanding what people are encountering, what people are seeing, and and also what are the mistakes people are making with other observations, and just to better get knowledge in the field with that. So been a part of MUFON for almost 1.5 years now. Met Amy through that with a local group, and it's been wonderful ever since, and connecting with people. And just, not just connecting with people, but letting experiencers know that they're not alone with their experiences, and how to educate people on what is man-made and what isn't.
And I think that's really true, because sometimes when you do have an experience that it just throws you sideways, and you just don't know what to do.
Absolutely.
And so it's great to have groups like you guys. And I'd like to talk about that a little bit more, of what people can expect when they have an experience. Where should they go, and how do they begin?
I think something that might surprise people to hear is that 1 in 40 people experience
Yes.
are experiencers in one way or another. Like either they've seen a UFO or they've actually encountered non-human intelligence. And these are people, I mean, you can think of 40 people right now that you interact with at work or whatever. People just kind of close up because over the last 80 years, we've been told that only crazy people talk about that. And that's changing completely now. So a lot of the cases that Daniel and I are getting are people that are saying, okay, back in 1965, this happened to me and I need to get it off my chest. And of course, we add it to the data and we can't really do much as far as like check flight records to make sure that, you know, like this wasn't like a craft that we can actually identify. But what really needs to happen for these people is for someone just to listen to them and some love and some safe space to talk about it. And I mean, that was pretty much my whole why behind getting so involved, was because I had shut down on all my experiences because it made me very weird and it made it difficult to hold on to friends. So when those things would happen, I'm just like, okay. And then I would just separate that part of me. And even when I told like my family about it and whatnot, they didn't know what to do with that information. And I think they were just like, well, you know, that's not good or whatever. I remember it being put into a real religious context.
Yes.
I felt like I had to hide all of it. And it also made me feel really uncomfortable when I was in like church groups and youth groups and church camps and whatnot, because I felt so like an imposter, like I'm in contact with something and told me it was bad, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And actually, I can relate to both of you because I was raised LDS Mormon most of my life. I got out in my late 40s. And I actually, Daniel, I used to see dead people. I was adopted. My parents didn't know what to do with me. And they thought I kept talking as a little kid. I kept seeing people in my room. And so my dad thought someone was coming into the house. So he nailed my window shut in my bedroom. He fixed the back sliders so no one could get in. And then in my 20s, I started helping with detectives on cold cases. It got that strong. And so I did that for several years, not a lot, but just a little bit. And then I decided to help the living instead of the deceased. And because it takes a toll on you when you start seeing these things and develop high blood pressure. And so I thought that's just time to work with the living and help the living with whatever I have. So, and I also, let's see. So you've both had paranormal. So can we talk about paranormal for a second? Because to you, is paranormal different than UFO, or is it mixed in the same genre?
Go ahead, Daniel.
We like to classify things into different categories, don't we? Well, I think when it comes down to anyone who's researching the topic, we know just from the data alone that there's crossover in almost all areas. This also goes back to people that have near-death experiences and other things, and then they'll often have forms of ET contact, or even crossing over to meeting loved ones, having experiences where they see almost angelic beings or vice versa. And those are things that all kind of seem to blend together. So when it comes to like what is it having, what's the criteria? I think we need to understand it a little bit better and understand really what we're dealing with. And so, yeah, I would say from my own experience, it started out as assuming it was just paranormal, quote, demonic activity or other things through a Christian lensing. I grew up Baptist, so we were pretty black and white on that stuff. Anything that wasn't of the church was evil. So, but looking back at it, I understood it was more of a environmental. It was environmental to where we lived, and not the house itself, but the location. So, that was something that I didn't realize until later, until I really started deconstructing my own faith that I grew up with, and understanding that things are a little bit more nuanced and things are a lot bigger than I previously assumed. That, you know, it was something not so personal, but at the same time personal to also what my experiences are, because as we know with the phenomenon, it tends to affect us in various ways. And then you look back, you know, as you're going through your life and you realize that it was kind of these stepping stones almost to either deepening your ability to become more attuned to your psychic giftings or your abilities, right, that you often have at an early age. You understand that, Robin. But at the same time, it opens you to other areas in your life that you didn't remember almost. I know that me and Amy have talked many times privately about our own experiences, and we want to share that today with people that are coming in live. But yeah, it's something that you really don't understand until you start looking into it. And then obviously the phenomenon looks back, and then it starts kind of, you realize your life is a little bit larger than just your human experience. And so I think that is my nuanced way of answering that.
Yeah, and also, and I just want to add, like, paranormal is such a huge category because it means everything that's the opposite of normal, right? Yeah. So animals talking to you, something telepathically talking to you, seeing a ghosty figure or seeing someone disappear into thin air, that's all paranormal. Because if you think about what normal is, it's just everything that you expect to be happening all the time that is very, very physical, very, very material. And paranormal seems to cross that border. So like Daniel said, the NHI, the non-human intelligence, it can present itself in ways that make you think it's normal, but it isn't. So in those ways,
that, Amy?
Yes. Okay. So as a little one, I spent a lot of time out in the forest behind my house, completely alone all the time, because that's what we did in the 70s. And I'd be out there hours and hours and hours, and hours would go by, and then I'd come home when it was dark, and I would be out there talking to animals, and they were talking back to me. So as I got older, as I got into my preteen years, I was told that I was talking to demons and I need to stop doing that. Yeah. As I crossed into my adulthood and I really started to question that, I've wondered if it was non-human intelligence the whole time, just showing me a picture of something I could process. Yeah. I can process talking to a rabbit, or an owl, or a deer, or something. Whereas if I were to see maybe a gray alien, I probably would be a little bit frightened. And I do have fearful memories of being very, very young and interpreting something as a skeleton, because they kind of have those skeleton faces. They're really skinny. Yeah. So I had fear of a skeleton looking in my window. And I was very, very little. And so clearly they were like, okay, she can't handle that. Let's give her something she can handle. And we're going to instead present ourselves as an owl.
Owl. Yep. I've heard that before for children. Yeah. So in MUFON, backtrack a little bit. Okay. What is something that you think people don't know about MUFON?
How thoroughly we investigate. We just absolutely throw down, especially if you've got some tangible evidence. If you've got a photograph or a video of something that you saw, we absolutely do everything we can to try to figure it out. We exhaust it. Okay. And we use the scientific method. We follow the evidence, and that's the first step of an investigation. And if that's as far as it goes, like say it's a close encounter of the first kind, which is a flyby, then that's about as far as it goes. We check the flight records, satellite records, everything that we can check. We check with the military. Were you testing anything and whatnot? Until we can say, okay, this was absolutely a helicopter, or this was absolutely unexplained. And we interview and we stick with the witness the whole time. We're in contact with the witness. We speak to them at length. And if they need to talk to us later, we talk to them later. If they actually had a close encounter of the fourth kind, where they've interacted or they've been
Can you
abducted.
just describe the fourth kind for me so other people know too?
Sure. The
Thanks.
fourth kind is, okay, can I just start from the beginning then? This is usually
Okay.
Daniel's area, but
Okay.
so the first kind is a flyby. You
Okay.
see that, and you can't explain it. It doesn't fly like a normal craft. The second kind is it actually lands or it interacts with our environment. So the ground has some radiation signatures, or there's some burns, or there's or the animals in your house freak out, or the electricity in your house glitches, and maybe your phone resets to, or your TV or all your appliances reset to factory settings, like they go and go out.
Okay.
So electrical or magnetic or any kind. Wait, that was the second. The third kind is if you're not touched by anybody, but you see a being. You see a being, like either they're looking at you or you see them in the vehicle, in the craft. The fourth kind is when you're taken.
Okay. That's the big
That's the
one.
abduction experience. That's the abduction. There is a fifth kind. MUFON doesn't work with that. The fifth kind is when you're intentionally trying to call in non-human intelligence to yourself to have a peaceful contact. I feel like there's a lot of risk involved with that, but it is very interesting to me.
Is that like CE5?
That is called CE5. It was developed by Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of conflicting I'm not going to say evidence. I mean, that people have had wonderful experiences with that. But I feel like if you're not ready for it, they're not going to show up and show themselves to you if you're absolutely having a meltdown, because all of a sudden you're like, never mind, I'm scared. They'll like, oh no. But I think it's risky for them to come into our atmosphere because our military tends to shoot stuff at them, try to shoot them down. So I think it's risky for them. They need to keep that in mind. And also, as a human, if you are not really prepared, what makes you think you won't call something else in that is what you're intending?
Exactly.
Because you really can't control that. I don't know that we can control that unless you're very, very skilled and have a lot of experience.
Well, and it depends. Like if everybody's drinking and then they do a CE5, it's probably not going to be a very good experience.
Right.
You have to go in with love and light. I've never done it. I don't want to do it because I don't feel like I need to call anything in. I don't need to see anything more than I do, And this, can Amy or Daniel, can you answer this? What is it called if they take you in a dream state or out of body?
I just answered that. Yeah. So that is actually a part of a definition of CE4. I've actually had that experience before. Yeah.
I have as well.
Oh,
that is a 4.
Okay.
That is considered something that would be handled by our experiencer resource team. I'm training in that currently right now. Daniel is on his way to be a part of that as well. And I actually know the person that just voiced in. Hi, Whitney. And she and I are going to be talking extensively about that. So yes, that is a CE4, Whitney.
Okay, cool. That's cool. Daniel, so like when people are abducted and it's really a trauma, some people go through trauma, so if it's a trauma or if it's a good thing, what do you guys do to help them their mental state?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, whenever we have a case of something that's traumatic, something traumatic happened to the witness, we usually try to put them in touch with our specialized team that handle that. And that's just that's part of the group that Amy just mentioned. But usually we'll interview the witness, and then we kind of get an assessment of kind of where they are. And then if it's really strong, then we'll point them in that direction. But I think on just the normal, like having conversations with experiencers who are maybe they've had it happen to them a long time ago, or if it's recent. I think the important part is just being able to have a space where they're able to talk and feel like they're not alone in the experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's step one, right? Instead
Yeah.
of just brushing it off or anything, like, we are investigators, sure, but also it's important that we keep an ear open for what people's experiences are, so they, you know, are not feeling like they're just the only one stuck in this. And so that's at least for me, I always approach that in a very serious manner, and it's so important that people feel that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've started something recently. We've only had one visit, but I've put together a group called People of Earth, and it's a experiencer coffee. Like we get together and we just talk. And we've met one time so far, but I feel like it was so healing for so many people. Almost everyone there was an experiencer. Our chief investigator was there, and he was brilliant because he was able to kind of, you know, talk about some nuts and bolts parts of it. And he was very compassionate. Everybody is super compassionate to each other. And just everyone was able to be quiet and let someone else have the floor. And there were parallels between people's experiences. And that was great, because people were saying, well, you know, the grays that I saw looked like this. Well, they look just like this. And they show the picture, you know, well, that's who I saw. So it was neat. It was neat. When you feel like you're not alone, all of a sudden you start getting stitches in that broken heart, you know, because I don't care if even what you saw was just a ship. It shatters your whole reality. It just brings you right down to ground level, like crush. And it shatters. It's like you start to question everything. You're like, well, why am I even alive? And do we have free will? And, you know, everything starts pounding in on you. And because I've totally been that person. And I was so like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with myself now. And I've taught my children things, and now I regret it, you know? So, it's really important to have support.
Oh, I agree. And to, like you said, know that you're not alone, but also to validate your experience. So, you know, you're not crazy, because it's things you can't talk to other people about. You got to find your tribe that will listen. And so have both of you seen an actual UFO in your lifetime?
Can
you answer that, or you're not able to say those things?
Oh, no, we can.
Okay.
Well, I'll just go off. So my own experience, I don't have any conscious memory of seeing a craft. I've had a few like memories kind of come back here and there, but it's been actually pretty lax in that way for me personally. But I've had experiences around me. I've had, as I've investigated stuff, people that I know have seen craft, having owl experiences or other paranormal encounters after we had chatted, you know, and then it happens the night after. This has been kind of it's interesting how it works, but I know I have a good contactee friend in Canada. Make a little shout out, Jeff Silver. I've had synchronicities with him where craft was showing up, and then between our texting, it was pretty much responding to our text. So it like the craft would blink off, and then as soon as I stopped texting, it would light up again and was circling around his house. And so that we had that experience, and that was quite interesting.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you, but sad for you because Jeff got to witness it and you didn't.
Well, it's one of those things. No, it's one of those things. It's kind of funny, right? And I guess we can rabbit trail down that later, maybe. But the phenomenon seems to give you what you need, and that I feel like that is for some people. They have to have a really big experience or a really loud experience, I like to think of it, and then it kind of tapers off, and then it's more subtle. So, you know, I think certain people need to see something that really shatters their paradigm. And then, you know, but it's usually in a way that is just enough that people are able to eventually integrate it if they choose to.
Yeah.
And I have one experience reminds me of I had a coworker, I won't say who it was, they had an owl experience right after we started talking about it the night previously. They came in very furious at me. And they're like, it was a witching hour, owl showed up, and then something was scratching in the wind on the side of the house. And they're like, it was the creepiest thing I ever experienced. But, I check in with them later, 6 months later. I'm like, so how is your overall view of things? And they said, well, it was scary, but now I'm realizing that things are a little bit larger, and I've been able to become more at peace with that part of myself a little bit more. And
Kind
so
of like an awakening. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It starts your journey, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a journey too. And just little crumbs are handed to you. And once you can incorporate those little crumbs into your saying, well, this is my reality, but there's something bigger past this, then you get another crumb.
Yeah.
I've never seen a ship that I was absolutely sure was a ship, like sitting here physically and seeing a ship, but I have absolutely no doubt I have been on a ship.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Several incidents.
When did that start for you?
Well, I don't think I recognized it for what it was until 2022. And up until that point, I was kind of brushing it off as having dreams or seeing ghosts or just having paranormal, like paranormal ghosty category things. And once 2022 happened, all of a sudden I was actually being able to understand that I was looking at gray aliens. I was looking at what we consider the gray aliens and whatnot. So, like I said, it was like almost a whole lifetime of getting little crumbs, and then I got the whole piece of bread in about 2022, 2023, where I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm looking at like what is a typical gray alien, and then I thought it wouldn't be just typical. It wouldn't be just typical.
Just the typical one.
But then as I'm looking, it was more than just the little ones. It was taller ones. It was ones with normal looking eyes that like an iris and a pupil and white to the eye. Yeah. Taller. They were in different heights. They were in different shades. There was also the mantis being was there as well. And
that's huge.
And from there were others as well of things that I didn't even, it's, when you just don't believe it's possible that there could be a lion cross human. Yep. And then there you see it. And then you're just like, what, how, there's so much we don't know. It's really fun. It's actually very, very fun. Once you get over the fear of it.
And I think sometimes to draw on some of my own experiences, because I've written several books, that my benevolent is something, just to share a interesting experience I had. This was probably about 4 years ago that I heard something in my bedroom go like that, and it woke me up. I'm a light sleeper. So I opened my eyes and I was facing my dresser, and there is a small gray sitting on my dresser sideways. And I had a frame behind him, 8x10 frame. I had a picture. It was a watercolor rabbit. Amy knows I like rabbits. And then I was paralyzed. All I could do is look at it. I couldn't even think. It was just watch. And so it didn't scare me because it wasn't looking at me, because it's sitting sideways and its head was down looking at its lap. And I think it was a conductor, because in the picture frame, I just kept seeing species after species after species after species. It was just like giving me these, and it was so fast. And even though it was so fast, it was showing me that, in my mind clicked on, I went, oh, I know them. Oh, yeah. And then, oh, don't know that one, and I kept saying that. And then when the gray would lift its head up and look at me, and then I met its eyes, which were the black. I think those are lenses, are kind of thinking that the lenses are over the eyes. And then it froze me. And I think it sensed my fear when it looked me directly in the eye. So it turned its head back away from me and looked down at its lap so I can continue watching. And then the book, The Benevolent, happened a year or so later. And I drew every species, and then I channeled every species. And I think sometimes when we see things, there are friends on the other side that we've either served with them, fought with them, flew with them, went to their planet. And I think that they're coming back to show us, like, hey, we know each other, you know the Lyran race, the mantis, and there's different types of the race, but that's my story. Excuse me, and I'm going to stick to it. But there are benevolent, and I usually hang out with the benevolent. And so, they gave me just the most incredible messages, and that's why I had to make a book on it to give it to mankind. I gave you, Amy, my book, and they care about us, and there's so many species that care about us, care about the planet, want us to be successful in this endeavor, whatever our role is in this earth life. And if you guys have anything you want to share, go with that. That was my story.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak on that a little bit, Robin. Thank you so much for sharing. The connected to that other space is really, I think, is a really important topic. Is when you're, as an experiencer, you start to realize that you're connected with a lot more things than you originally thought. And when you don't really deep dive into it and you take it at face value, it can be very frightening, I feel like, especially when you're in that mode of trying to just kind of reconcile what happened to you. If it was traumatic, having to go through that process of not just finding somebody, but processing that trauma and all of that, and we've all had to be there in one way or another in our lives with processing it. But another part of it is realizing that, it seems to be this kind of interconnected web of family almost. I know with my contacts with them, they are intrinsically a part of my family. I know that. It actually came before I had my CE4 experience. I started making connections with pulling on kind of the those parts of that are connected to my family. I have my own spiritual kind of walk, and of trying to deepen myself, and it started happening after I pulled on that string. And so I think that's another part of the topic that it gets into the quote woo territory fairly quickly, but that is an aspect of it. It's not just nuts and bolts. It's not just ETs coming here and they have no idea who we are. They know who we are. They are connected. They've been here. And I think that this is a whole part of a process. The other thing too, after, I had a channeling experience, which was very, I didn't believe in channeling before then. I thought it was all, quote BS. And I had it happen to me. And then I was like, oh, wait, there's something to this, because also my fellow podcaster sensed it 2,000 miles away and then texted me 3 hours later, giving me great detail of exactly what happened. So that was confirmation for me. I think that was meant for confirmation for myself. No, that was legitimate. But after that, I came away with understanding that two things. I needed to speak about this. I needed to be out in the open and not hide. And also I needed to connect with other experiencers in this hidden network that I'm unaware of, that a lot of us are unaware of, but we seem to be, you ever meet another person, you're like, you seem so familiar. I don't know where to place it, but that feeling, that is the non-human, like, what I'm trying to say. It's in those in-between spaces that we are unaware of, and we have bleed through of little moments or maybe a feeling of that person being connected. But what that is we're somehow interacting with NHI, probably on craft or other places, and we have a mission that we are just unaware of, whether
Yeah.
that's out of our own protection, whether that's out of the NHI's understanding of how the intelligence agency actually works with their technologies or reverse engineering technology, that they seem to be able to sense when things do happen. They can project out when craft are going to be in an area before it happens. That sounds like, some pretty crazy tech. So that's just my own assumption of why we don't remember. I think it's multi-tiered as they tend to operate. But yeah, it becomes part of a lot larger picture.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that is exciting. And this is my view, is that I think that we're going to find out a lot of these people coming out in the government, like Grush and others, they're actually experiencers. They're being prompted out of these areas to come out. It's not just that they're trying to obfuscate the conversation and kind of try to put everything back in the bottle. I think that's an agenda for certain parts, but I genuinely think that a lot of these people that are experiencers, and they're being activated, so to speak, as a lot of people like to say. And because in my own experience, when I started making the connections was back in 2023. David Grush was my activation, essentially. I started rabbit trailing down all the kind of topic, and I started connecting the dots, and it was within a few months, and I was just like, what's going on? No, what's actually going on here? And so I think a lot of us have felt that, and I think it's just, it's an important topic to speak on and be able to talk about openly.
Sure.
I do agree. Even though I'm not, I'm spiritual, but not religious. I guess that's a thing. And so it's kind of like line upon line, precept upon precept. That's how we are given our information, just whatever. And I think it's through your own ascension. The more you can raise your vibration and higher yourself, the more information that you would be able to absorb and accept and go to the next level. I think they're kind of raising us here, and then they're going to raise us here, and then they're going to bring us here. And the people, the men that are speaking out right now, I do feel that they're here for the awakening. And I don't feel, I know people get messages that like the world is going to be a catastrophic ending of the world. I just don't feel that.
I don't either.
Because sometimes I think some of these grays or entities, beings, can misguide us sometimes. Or maybe it's government, because we don't know. Sometimes the government can be involved in some of these things.
Sure.
Because they say, like, some of the abductions could you're not in a craft, you're on Earth in an underground thing. And so you think you're being taken up, but you're actually maybe went underground, and it could be government, alien combined. Have you ever have any thoughts on anything like that?
I do. I feel like I think the intentions. Now, first off, I want something. A lot of folks kind of get mixed up is that they think the grays are just one thing. I think the grays are pretty nuanced. I think there's groups of grays that they have an intention on being here. They're trying to save their own species from annihilation. Okay, so you know how they look a little funny.
Give it to us, Amy.
I'm getting uncomfortable because this is.
I know. Get yourself
going into woo territory.
That's okay. This channel is for woo.
Okay, I'm in a woo safe zone, so I'm going to go ahead and spell it. It's my understanding that they integrated so greatly that they were very much like us, very much like human at one point. Like maybe they were human, but they integrated so greatly with AI that they lost their humanness. And now they've lost their ability to procreate properly. They've lost their ability to actually pass away, have their soul reincarnate and come in again with no memory, which is really important. Now, I mean, this is going to be a quick segue. You would wonder, if we are reincarnating, why don't we remember what we just learned? Because that would really help us on the next journey. You absolutely cannot learn unless you are stripped down to just absolutely physical. Like you cannot have those memories and learn the process and learn the lessons you need to learn. You have to go back to scratch. It doesn't mean that your soul doesn't remember what you just went through in the previous lifetime. So what they have done was they integrated with AI so greatly that instead of dying, going through the dying process and coming back in as a reincarnated new individual being born, they created a biological little body that they can create several of, and they can transfer their consciousness from one to the next. When that body wears out, they don't die. They just transfer the consciousness into another pre-made body. And they are soft. They aren't a robot. They're soft. Yeah. So they're made like a robot is made, kind of, they're
organic.
They're manufactured. There's organicness to them, but the consciousness, the soul, instead of dying and going through the whole process again, it just gets transferred to the next thing. Well, that ended up being a problem to where they are not advancing any longer. They have lost their ability to be a soul and be reincarnated and relearn and relearn and relearn. And so they're trying to get that back because their whole species is dying out because they cannot procreate anymore. So their whole intention, and they really do love us. The ones I'm talking about really do care and love us. We are a wealth of information for them because they've lost a lot of their ability to feel, to empathize, to sympathize, because they can all think each other's thoughts.
They don't have emotion.
Well, they have some, but not like we have it.
Okay.
And they can't go through something. Okay, so I feel like the reason they are so connected to us is because when we go through grief and we go through betrayal and some of the hardest emotions ever, it's fascinating to them. And so they're learning from us, and they're trying to create a species that's part them and part us, something that can survive past us. They've had a lot of radiation exposure. They're hairless. Yeah, that's kind of why they're a little bit weird. Now, that's not to say there aren't other groups of grays that are interlopers that are coming through and have a different agenda. Maybe they're just kind of goofing around. I don't know what their agenda is. I can only speak on the agenda of the ones that are connected to me personally. And I feel like they are kind and they are good. Yeah. I feel like are some interlopers in there.
See, and I think that there's the good ones, and then there's the scientists who are the neutral. They're here just to grab the cows, grab the plant life. They're here to investigate and do scientific things. And then I believe there's the malevolent ones that maybe have joined other species that are more malevolent.
I'm sure it's the whole spectrum. I'm sure it's the whole spectrum.
I don't humans. I mean, we have all different people. We have good, we have neutral, we have bad,
Doesn't make humans bad, just because a few are doing horrible things. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Right?
Yeah, the whole species.
Right, exactly.
Correct.
And actually, if you think more along the lines of what is the intention, what is the purpose behind it? Someone might think, well, they took my DNA and I was like, it was against my will or whatever, and that makes them bad. Well, they're trying to survive. They're trying to make our species survive and their species survive. So the intent, it depends how you look at it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're somebody that was abused, taken on there and abused cruelly and then dumped off, without your clothes on somewhere 5 miles from home, it just seems like you're not dealing with the top brass there, Grace. That's not the top brass. That's definitely the ones that are kind of maybe scooting in.
Yeah. And you put my clothes back on, Poor Travis Walton had to walk around naked.
You're left on your roof completely bare naked,
Yeah.
And so that's probably not the top brass there, but But
Sorry.
I have to believe that there has to be some governing going on with these groups as well, because we're being brought back. I mean, we're being brought back. We're being taken, but we're being brought back. And then
Yeah.
for most of us, our memory is being wiped of the whole situation. So maybe you have some trauma and you're not sure where it's coming from, but your memory of it has been wiped. So that has to go along the lines of a non-interference clause or a free will clause, where we're still allowed some free will, but yet they're farming some of our DNA to try to create a better future. It's so nuanced. It's so hard to wrap your mind around, and you have to be really kind of almost mellowed out to any feelings about it for a while before you decide, like, how do I really feel about this? Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, because I remember thinking to myself, am I the type of person that would allow my DNA to be taken and maybe my eggs to be made into other humans? Would I do this, something like that?
I think you and I talked about this.
I'm exactly that kind of person.
Yeah.
I am. Because if it's for the betterment of life, it's for the betterment of our own species, or to help another, I'm on board. I've always been that kind of person.
And I think my point of view, this is just a point of view, before we came down here, I think we had a clause and we could sign, do you want to let this species, maybe the ones having us come down, take your eggs, or for men, their part. And then I think we put that in our book of life or whatever. And then we say, sure, do it. And then I think there's people that they say, well, do you want to remember it, a little bit of it, or do you not want to remember it? And I said, no, I don't want to remember nothing. You just do it and be done. And it's funny because on each side of my body where my ovaries are, I have red marks. And I've gone to a dermatologist and I said, what is this? Is this cancer? Like a basal cell skin cancer? Because I worked for dermatologists. So they did biopsy of them. So now I have a red mark with a white hole in it. And it's just dead skin. And I said, well, what made that happen? They go, I don't know. It's just dead. It's like a scar. It's just dead skin. Wow. And I kind of know what it is because it's right over where my ovaries are. And so I think I call it a harvester, that I said, okay, yeah, do it, because I'm not probably going to have kids. So take what you need. Just don't let me remember.
Is it really all that different than on your driver's license saying you're a donor?
Yeah.
It's a part, like if you've passed away in a terrible accident, but you can donate your eyes, or you can donate because you don't need them. Is it that different? Because we have like 1 million eggs in there. We only use maybe 2.
I know you can sell them. I didn't know you could sell them. I could have sold those for thousands and thousands of dollars. It's like giving it away.
Put on the experiencer card. Yeah, I'm an egg donor.
Yeah, so that's just a take, you guys. So whatever you believe. We're just throwing stuff out there that because we're kind of going past normal thought processes here. We're going into the beyond. And so
it was going to happen today.
Yeah, if anybody has on the chat questions, let us know. I wanted to ask you too. I want to kind of let's swing a little bit back to MUFON. So what makes, like, Opus, I know there's Opus, there's MUFON, there's several different groups for experiencers. What makes MUFON kind of the leader of those? Is it your information data bank that you can put things in and go, oh yeah, someone else in Boise, Idaho had an experience at the same time? Or
that happens. But I mean, I don't know that one's better than the other. I think they're all designed to serve the betterment of humanity. And it doesn't matter. If you feel more comfortable going to New Fork and doing your investigation there, then do it. Because the whole point, the whole purpose of any of these groups is to prepare us for open contact, to educate, to help, because this is coming no matter what. I hope it's in my lifetime. I would love to be able to walk down the street and see a gray and say, hello, it's good to see you. Have a good day.
No, I don't
I would
want to
love
do that.
for it to be like that. Anyways, no, I really would. Sometimes I imagine it when I'm on walks to practice. But anyways,
okay. Okay, Amy.
But it is to
walking
prepare
with
for
you.
that. It's to prepare because it's coming. It does. In fact, it's already here. It's already here. We're kind of behind the ball.
Yeah. Do you feel, okay, I'm going to follow up with what you just said. Why is there a need for contact? Why do they feel? Yeah, because you have malevolent that they're able to influence people and do the dirty work themselves instead of them. And the benevolent are here to love us and support us. And we have free agency. And then where's the God factor, in all this too?
Sure. I'll do a quick answer, and then I want Daniel to answer too. As a species, we have made it to a point with our technology that we have become dangerous to our own existence. At the same time, we have not leveled up spiritually. So I think that they have a concern about that, and they're trying to help us awaken to become more spiritual so that we aren't such a danger, so that we aren't such a warring species. And Daniel, what do you think? I mean, I guess that's my whole point.
The reason why we should reach out to them, or the reason why we're having contact and ongoing. Well, a few things. So, us as the leading species on Earth, at least that we're aware of, or what we're told, we're not doing too hot, right? Over 70% of the animal population has been destroyed since the 1970s. We know we are moving towards climate catastrophe. We have a lot of issues with our government not being held accountable. We have a lot of these things that are everyone's facing. So, I mean, to really bring it home is like, we're not doing well managing the Earth, the thing that we've been given, right? That is fact. We also know that since the 40s, with the onset of nuclear technology, of using that as a weapon first and foremost, that we got their attention, and really where things started heating up with human and ET contact. We know that with UFO and nukes, and talking with people that are Minutemen, some of the world's most vetted, psychologically sound people on the planet, because they have to watch nuclear weapons, have had decades of UFOs showing up and shutting them down, turning them on, panicking them, trying to get our attention of like, hey, stop messing with this. This is dangerous. So there's those angles, right? I'll just say from my own experience since I've had more interactions with them, I'm now very careful of where I step, making sure I don't step on any bugs. Like my empathy has become a lot more pronounced for others. And I think that's part of the thing, is really helping us reground with knowing that we are intrinsically connected with the planet and every species that's a part of it, and that we have to change. And it's not even really up to us anymore of, we should change. It's, we are going to have to change because of the repercussions of our planet that we've done to the planet. So, what does that look like though long-term wise? I don't know. I don't think that is something they're willing to give to us, of what that actually looks like, because we like to grab onto concepts and plans, and then we tend to muck those up. So I think that's part of why things can be a little obscured for a lot of people, of like, what's the grand plan? I know we're shown imagery of catastrophes and everything else. Is that just priming us for when it happens with the environment or other things, or is it meant to increase our empathy for others and the planet, I think that's really up to the person experiencing that. And, but I think overall it's to help with the changes that are coming to the planet, and so that we're able to gracefully support each other through the process. And also understanding that we are not truly alone, and we're not the only ones, even on the planet, but let alone the universe. And for me, I think about, like, I have 2 children of my own that they're going to be dealing with a very difficult planet, even in their lifetime. I like to think of that as that we kind of have, and Robin, I'm speaking to the ones that we know are good and are supportive of us, that we have a support system and that they kind of have our back. I know that we don't control what corporations do or what, if we're poisoning the planet or we're not, but I feel like it is, they're helping us in that way. And, does that mean that everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows with the planet and what we're going to have to go through? No, but I believe that it's helping us. Part of the reason why we're building community, part of the reason why we're speaking about these things, is to get people on the same page of understanding that, hey, we share a space with not just all of our animal species, but other species as well on this planet. And we need to be able to come together in community to fight to keep that, our jewel of a planet, and that we can continue to have humanity go on. I think that's part of the reason why, a big reason why. Yeah.
Well said, Daniel. That's what I meant. But he said it.
You both said
we're behind. We're behind.
It was a word salad now.
No, it's all good, because I do believe that our planet is a gift.
Yeah.
It was made for maybe us. And I think it is a jewel, because it gives us everything that we need: power, food, water, and I think where was it? I was going to go with that. Anyway, I lost it. But our planet is a gift, and we need to respect it. And it's interesting that the alien species that come down tell us to respect and take care of the planet. We're to be the caretakers of it while we're here. And I think obviously that's very important to them. And back to the nuclear power. So if they are the Greys, some of the Greys are from the future, and it's how we evolve that way, they know better than us that, look, do you want to look like me with nuclear power, or do you want to look like you, who are beautiful people? I don't think Greys are beautiful, and maybe they're trying to maybe change how we do things so we don't evolve that way and don't become more intellect without the empathy, without the spirituality. Even I think their spirituality is intellectual. Everything's intellectual. What do you think?
I agree with that. I think also part of their evolution to look the way they look, I said they've had a lot of radiation exposure. They have. But if you were a civilization that became so full of intellect and you were losing other parts, that were kind of human, part of the way you can eliminate jealousy, one way to eliminate jealousy, I suppose, would be to make everybody look exactly the same, so no one's jealous of the other one. One way to eliminate war would be everybody can think what everybody else is thinking, so no one can sneak up on you and lose all that individuality. Well, I wonder if they got to a point where they're like, hey, this didn't work so well. We went too far. And so can we back it up? Can we back it up a little bit for future generations and find that sweet spot in the middle where we're still peaceful, but we still have that empathy? And I was going to say, when Daniel talked about not stepping on bugs, that is exactly what happened to me when I started to feel extremely connected to everything. And I think that's part of the plan when there is ET contact, to enhance you spiritually.
Mhm.
I felt connected to trees, rocks, bugs, everything, like literally connected. But I was kind of like that as a kid anyway. But I think I lost it in my middle years. But
Well, back to the bug thing. I do feel that bugs are a gift, because look at the mantis that we have on Earth. There's a mantis being. We have a Lyran race, the cat race. We have different cat races here. And I channeled a spider race. That was the hardest thing for me to channel. And it was a really great warring race that helped us take over planets that were slave trade planets. And the spiders would go in and clear it out first. And I mean, I hate spiders. And so I stopped that too. I get a big towel when I pick them up, even though it's little, and then I throw it outside. You're going outside. So I think, and I've had experience where I felt like I met another spider race, and it came at me hard, because it saw in my head all the spiders I've killed in my lifetime. So I don't know what that was about, but I said, I won't kill any more spiders. I promise. Stay away from me. So
wait, Robin, I wanted to ask you specifically. No. When you were channeling the spider species, you said it was hard to connect. Can I ask why?
Hard to what? Connect?
You said it was hard to connect, or it was difficult. What was the reason?
It was hard to connect because of my fear. Okay. Because it was like a tarantula, and it came out of a cave, and I was standing in front of the cave. And so when I channel, I can go into a visual, and I can even feel touch. I can feel wind. I can feel things. And usually when I channel, if I have another YouTube channel called Robin Hyatt, the Blue Star, it has 10 years of channeling. And when it came out of the cave, and here I am this big, so it was switched. The roles were switched. I was little and it was big. And I had to get through my fear of it. And it turned out to be the most incredible experience of one of my channelings, was to channel a spider. They're incredibly wise, credible. The benevolent ones will battle for us to their death. That's what they do. They're large. They have webs. They have poison that can shoot out. So they're really good, and they're fast, and they're multi-legged. So in war against other species, they're very good, and then I do believe then we have other warriors like Pleiadians. They're really good in ships, in warring if need be. And I do believe, because we are multidimensional, we have a war below the earth. We have a war on the earth, and we have a war above the earth. And so the war below the earth is a tangible war, because I do believe, our military and stuff know about that. On the earth, obviously we see it, but above the earth, unless you're really super high in a vibration, you can't see it. But I think there's always constant good and evil. This is a web of good and evil everywhere, and there must be a reason for it. It might have started in the war in heaven, where something was casted down here, and it big boom, but I think that is sometimes our trial, is to overcome the evil, to rise above, and to love. What I have learned about love, it's a simple word, but it has such a powerful energy. And when you say, I love you to someone, you are blanketing them with the most powerful energy you can. So if you think of love as an energy, share it. Always say, I love you. I go in the house, I go, I love you, just to have that. I go look at the stars. I tell them I love them. I want them to feel this energy and bring it back down to me. So I think if I can bring it back to Eisenhower, where he had a choice to go with a benevolent group or a non-benevolent group, he chose the non for war. If he would have chosen the benevolent group to bring into the world, our lives would have been so different.
I just want to say, if I've thought about this a lot. So for those who are unfamiliar with what we're talking about the Greada Treaty.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm hoping that this information can be verified through more documents being released, particularly MJ12 documents. It hasn't been released yet to completely verify this happened, but I think everybody that knows anything about ET contact and the history and ufology, we think something like this happened. So in 1952, Eisenhower disappears. It said he had a toothache and he had to go to the dentist, but before that shows up in the news, it's like he's gone. We think he's dead. We don't know where he is. And the story goes that he met in a non-disclosed place, a really underground place, and met with a race of Palladians. And the Palladians looked a lot like a Nordic species. So they were tall, super muscular. I don't know if they were blonde or not. If you look at like pictures that people have made, they make them look blonde. So they look like beautiful Swedes. And they were from the Pallades. They said, hey, we will exchange some technology for you, but you have to give up all of your weapons. Give up all your weapons, and we will help you create a world of peace and whatever. So this was right after World War II. It was heading into Cold War. Eisenhower did not trust, of course, he did not trust the Russians. He did not trust anybody else either. And so he turned them down. I don't know knowing me the way I'm knowing me, I probably would have went with that plan because I'm that kind of a person. But I can't get into Eisenhower's head completely to know what he was thinking, but his distrust for our enemies was so strong that he turned them down.
Yeah.
So because he's like, I'm not giving up our weapons because I don't trust the Russians. I mean, they could hide all of their arsenal, and as soon as we're unarmed, they could just blow us away. Right. So I can't judge Eisenhower for that choice because that's like the worst job in the world. I would not want to be president ever. That is the worst job. You see how they age? Oh my God. It's like they age like 50 years in the 4 years they're in the White House. So anyway,
you're carrying the world on your shoulders.
Yeah, you're carrying the world on your shoulders. Half people
and they
want to
see a lot.
Half, whatever, are trying to buy you to whatever. I don't want to go there. But anyways, so then, and they also said, okay, well, you're going to be visited by another species. And that happened to be the Greys. Now, I don't want to say that the Greys are evil. I just think that their intentions are to save themselves. And we get some benefits along the way. So the Greys show up afterwards and they say to Eisenhower, this sounds like a nighttime story, doesn't it? A bedtime story. The Greys say to Eisenhower, we will exchange wonderful technology with you. You can keep all of the weapons you want. In exchange, we want permission. We want your blessing that we can take species from the planet. And we're talking all kinds of animals and all kinds of people, because we need the DNA to make this other species. And really, they don't care so much if we blow ourselves up with nukes, because they can reseed another planet with all this DNA and all the animals and stuff. It's like an ark in their ship with all the DNA. They can remake it, but it would be a pain in the butt. They would rather not do that because it takes long time to get us to where we are now, right?
Yeah.
So that was the intent. He went with door number 2. He went with the Greys, and we ended up with an incredible amount of technology, and they have permission to come pick us up, take the eggs and sperm they need, take animals. By the way, the cattle mutilation flap that happened in the 70s to 80s, it still happens a little bit. I'm suspicious if it's them anymore. I don't think they would need any more of that material in particular, but it wasn't just cattle, but it's talked about cattle. There were deer, elk,
Mhm.
rabbit, dog, cat, Snippy the horse. There was all
Oh yeah,
kinds.
Snippy.
Little,
Snippy.
little Snippy the horse. Gosh darn it, was sweetheart. All of those
Poor
animals.
Snippy. That makes me so sad. Yeah.
You know, that's tragic.
Oh,
But
there's a book
anyway,
on him.
but the only reason we know about the cattle was because the cattle is an object that people own. So they were able to report that as a loss. So nobody talks about how many elk were taken or how many raccoon were taken. Nobody cares about the raccoon, right? Poor
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, but every species was sampled. I just want to make sure that's out there. So that was the agreement. That is the folklore that has yet to be proven. I hope it's proven because it sure would make everything
That might
make
be
sense.
one of the best disclosures we could have.
Right? That and
Yeah.
Roswell 100% happened. But yeah. So that's what that's about. But I want to say, I don't know if I really want to say in defense of the Greys, but I think their intention is just simply to survive, and we are the product that can help that happen.
Yeah.
Them
I get it. Yeah.
them being kind of categorized as evil, I don't buy it. I think there may be some working for some interlopers. Also, I have to say, if you can manufacture that little gray body, what makes you think you can't like make them slaves?
Well, yeah, they do all the work. Yeah.
So I mean, like, sure, you can make a set of slaves just like that and have them be working for the interlopers that are their intentions are cruel.
Yeah.
Just as easily.
Well, I do believe that there are maybe a mix of gray and another species out there. I mean, I think because, we have like reptilian and all Dracos and all those evil beings that do no good for nothing. But I think our Earth has resources for them. We have mineral deposits and all sorts of things for all different. I think it's like we're like the store for all the aliens from all different areas come, and we need oil, we need this deposit, we need this deposit, and they shoot it back to their planet wherever they are. I do have let me ask just a couple more questions. Are you guys still good to go for a little bit longer?
Oh yes. Okay. This is
a lot. I wanted to find out, because we're in Idaho, and we all live in Idaho. Do you have like a top case that you can share with us from Idaho area?
Oh no, I do. Daniel, do you?
Not off the top of my head, but I could try to remember something.
Oh no, it's cool. It's cool. I actually am prepared for that question because I thought you might ask something like that. So back in 2010, now this is before Daniel and I were even field investigators. So this is before our time, but this is documented. In 2010, it was called the Tri-County Triangle. And the three counties, it's kind of right in the saddle of Idaho: Valley County, Idaho, and Adams County. So they're right when the panhandle comes down and arcs like that. So they're kind of right in that little spot right there.
Okay.
So there were several sightings all within 30 minutes through that county, people that had no connection with each other, normal folks. There was a teacher, there was a retired policeman, there was a healthcare worker. They all reported the very same thing at the very same time. And it was a triangle, black triangle. I say it's like a piece of quiche, right? So it's kind of thick, but it's a triangle. Three lights on the bottom, boom, 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 and they all saw it, and they all reported it. And the field investigators in Idaho were able to triangulate it and say, okay, it was right in the spot. It traveled. That was pretty cool. Yeah. So within just this year, I have had 2 reports of that black triangle.
Oh,
and I have to say. The reports back in the day were a little bit different than the reports that are coming in now. The reports coming in now are not showing an exhaust trail. They're showing hover capabilities where this hovers for a long time. I have a witness that said he pulled his truck over and he looked up underneath it like this, like he was just absolutely like, oh my gosh. And he had another worker in the car and they both saw it. And that one was over closer to Pocatello. And then the other one that I had was up in the Panhandle. So the difference between that and the ones back in 2010 is they were saying that there did seem like there was a little exhaust out the back. So that has to make me wonder, is this is this a experimental craft that we are developing?
Mm-hmm.
That triangle. And I don't have any, this is Amy's thoughts, right? So
Of course.
I have no evidence one way or the other, except for when we do these reports, it's like, hey, this is a UFO only because it's unidentified, it's flying, and it's an object, and it's not transponding. So we have to identify it as that. But could it be that? Because Idaho, through that area, through those counties and that little saddle, hardly anybody lives there.
Yeah.
That's a section of land where there is typically zero flight traffic, right? So if you were going to fly an experimental craft, that'd be a great place to do it. Okay, so that's one. The other one, though, I've kind of got my fingers all over this one. There is a tumbling orb with multicolors. It's like a disco ball. It goes, and it's been seen all over the place in Idaho. It's been categorized by a group called Skywatcher, and they are a wonderful group. And you can go on YouTube and look at skywatcher.ai, and their part 1 and their part 2. So they have been able to call in UAP during the middle of the day. And they've been able to do a ton of research. They're trying to get them to land. They haven't been able to get a landing yet. These are guys that used to work for our government in research and development and also in crash recovery. So they've all retired. They've formed this group. They've got their own funding. They're separate from the government now. So I trust these guys quite a bit. So this is what's categorized as a Class 6 UFO, and it's called the Bright Star. They drop down. They just drop straight down. They can hover for up to 3 hours. People have watched them 3 hours. They can go forward and backward, side to side, No one has seen them yet go doink off like at an angle, but they just drop down, hover. So they show all of the observables that we look at when we're identifying an unidentified flying object. We could go over those observables if you want to. They're really specific, and when you know them, if you're out and you see something weird, you can probably figure it out on your own because you're like, okay, that definitely.
Here's the answer to your question. Yes.
Yes. So
go over it.
So this person Whitney, she has seen these multiple times, and she calls them. Yes, she calls them the Sky Police. They're unbelievable, and she lives out in a really, really dark spot. Okay, so I'm going to look for my observables here.
So how big is it? The light.
It looks like a giant star. I think it's.
Oh, so it doesn't come down close to Earth. It just stays up.
I'm sorry. It comes down to about 300 to 500 feet off the ground.
Oh,
that's pretty close. Yeah. That's darn close. They're about 6 meters, 3 to 6 meters across, estimated.
Okay.
Meters is
no
a yard.
Sound.
So 6 to 12 feet.
Oh, wow.
Wide. Okay. So it's kind of like plasma ball orbs. It's kind of like a plasma ball orb, but it tumbles with multicolors. And I'm talking about pink, orange, teal, green, blue. And it kind of looks like there's edges in there, but I don't know. You'll decide for yourself. Go on Skywatcher AI and look at it for yourself and whatever. But I mean, like they've been able to do quite a bit of research on that. So I wish I would have wrote down the observables because but anyway, observable 1, it can go at a really, really fast speed, unbelievable fast speed. So our fastest vehicle that we've got in our military arsenal can go about 4,000 miles an hour, and faster than that it probably could go, but it would disintegrate, right? Mm-hmm. These vehicles go 40,000 miles an hour. 4,000 versus 40,000. That is a huge difference.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And usually they're so fast that our eyes don't even see it. I mean,
Yeah.
Ours don't even see it. Like if a UFO wants you to see it, it'll slow down so you can see it. It's almost like it's intentional because they can go that fast.
Mhm.
Another thing is that, oh yeah, and that's a G force that's hundreds and hundreds of Gs. That would splatter a person. Okay. Another one is that when it blasts off and leaves, it doesn't make any sound. It doesn't have like a, there's Whitney. She's darling. She's such a sweet girl. I just love this person.
Mhm.
Anyways, okay, so when it blasts off, it doesn't have any signatures like that concussion boom that we hear
Okay.
when we have the big like, boom boom. It has no signature. It has no exhaust. When it's all of our technology that we know of, it has a propulsion. So there's either fire or there's a jet or there's a contrail coming out behind it, right? Instead of being pushed, it actually falls forward. So it's bending space in front of it. Let's just say this is space, right?
Okay.
I'm going to use one of my art pens. So here's the vehicle. It's going to sit here right on space. It bends it like that, and it moves like that. It bends the space in front of it, and it falls forward.
Okay.
It falls forward. It doesn't even use that kind of power. I don't understand it completely. I don't know who does. I'm sure somebody does. But as the space fabric bends like this, it follows. It just falls right in it. So that's another signature. Another one is that it affects electrical equipment. It affects dogs. Kitties start to act weird. Horses start to run like pell-mell, whatever. That's another signature. Another one is that it causes people to feel maybe like they're connected to it, or maybe they feel really sick, or all kinds of. So there are really specific things that put a UAP into the UAP category, and we investigate those thoroughly. And if they can hit those marks, even if they can hit like 4 or 5 of those marks, because so far my witnesses that have seen the tumbling ball, they kind of get tired and go to bed before they see it leave. So I would love for someone to be able to stick it out and see, does that ball go at 40,000 miles an hour? How does it leave?
Or fade out.
Yeah. Does it just blink? Oh, that's another one. Is it transmedium? Does it go from air into water? Does it go from air and blinking out into nothing? Does it go from space to air to water? Like, does it change mediums?
Do we have video and stuff of that? I'm sure if people are watching it, or does it not come out very good?
Oh no, it comes out great. Whitney has amazing video of it.
Okay. I was just wondering if you zoom in on it, if it shows any faces or objects.
No, it never has. It never has.
Okay.
Just color, which is making me feel like it goes in the orb category, more of the orb, because the orbs are looking like a plasma being.
Yeah.
But we don't know yet. There's so much to know.
Yeah.
So much
of course.
to learn.
Yeah, of course. And
with Whitney's permission, I can ask her. Maybe we can find a way to link some of her video footage. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, we could have you guys on again. Yeah. And I was actually even thinking of bringing on maybe some people in your group, like experiencers.
Sure.
And we could all just chat.
Our chief investigator would like to come.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can actually take up to probably 5 people, 6 people on here. So yeah, let's do it again. And we can do a little bit more from people. I would like to hear people's stories and what they're seeing out there, because that's how we learn. And then just bring it into your space and just go, accept it or not. But just listen and enjoy, because maybe you don't understand right now, but maybe one day you will understand. So
right, approach with curiosity and not fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you actually ever had an investigation where you went, no, this didn't happen? Like, no, yes. I don't think so. Someone was smoking some Maui Wowie or something.
Yes. Definitely.
A lot of people misidentify. One a good example is Starlink. We'll see Starlink and be like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, there's big craft going over, and it's got to be do your due diligence." And
Yeah.
yeah, we often get that quite a bit. But it's kind of one of those things that at least I like to approach with my own cases. It's just like, yeah, this was a miss this time. Doesn't mean that they're not out there. Doesn't mean that there
Mhm.
isn't anomalous activity. It's just, yeah, it's okay
Yeah.
because it happens to the best of us, and
Yeah.
we just have to go through those parameters of figuring out if it's man-made or not.
Right.
And
80% are man-made. 80% of our cases are
Yeah. And
explainable.
did you know that they just came out with a story? I don't know if it's true or not, but there's little orbs going around Starlink investigating it. Did you hear
Oh.
that?
No, I'd love to learn about that.
Interesting.
I'll have to see where I saw that. I don't know if it's true or not, but it showed a video of it, of Starlink, and then all these little white things zooming in and out and around it and out and all over. But you know what? This is going to be the problem with the future is AI is so good. We
Mhm.
don't know. Even when someone posts a picture of a Sasquatch, is that real or is that AI?
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
we don't know anymore. I mean, it's getting hard, which is frustrating because you want to believe it, but then you go, okay, how do we prove that that is a real Sasquatch
Right.
face?
You have to go through off of multiple data points and also
Yeah.
witnesses testimony and multiple witnesses, and yeah, it's more about the data around it than anything really anymore about the footage. Yeah, I agree. It can be
True.
hard to differentiate unless you're people that are in the space of working with generative AI and you can tell those markers. It can be really, really difficult to. So yeah.
So we will have Whitney on for sure.
Okay, Whitney, you're on.
Yeah, Whitney, I want to ask you. I had a show with Barb Shoop. You probably know who Barb Shoop is because she's the only one in the world that videotaped a cloaked Sasquatch. Have you guys seen that video?
I know
Oh
who Barbara
man,
Streisand is.
I will send it to you. It's been all over. She should get more recognition than she gets. She was just showing people on her property because she has a lot of activity. And then she just happened to be pointing her camera in the forest past the people that she was showing on her property about talking about Sasquatch and their X's on the trees and broken branches, things like that. So it jumps down from high in a tree. You can actually see it. It's like Predator movie. It jumps down and then you can see it squatting and then it stands up and then it takes off. And I will send that to you because it's actually been investigated. It was on a phone. And it was a long time ago before we had AI. And so, yeah, I'll send it to you. It's amazing. So yeah, Whitney, we'll talk about that because I'm a Sasquatch girl. So
Have you had an encounter yourself?
I've had 2.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know this is strange. But I was raised in California. We always went boating in the summertime with family, 2 other families or 1 other family. So we had 2 other families boating with us on Lake Shasta. And so we found a cove to go because we pull off the coolers and we make lunch. And so I was 4 or 5. Anyway, I had to go to the bathroom. And my mom said, go into the trees behind us because there's a forest behind us. Go to that first tree. It was like 10 feet away, 20 feet away. And she goes, go behind the tree, then come back out. So here I'm in a bathing suit, a ski vest because I don't swim. And then I had flip-flops, so I'm older than you guys. So in the 60s, we had these really spongy flip-flops that were really cheap. You bought them and you could wear them boating. So I go up there and then I realized everybody could see me behind this one tree. So I decided to go a little bit more into the forest to get another tree. As I was going into getting another tree, my story is that something picked me up from behind and carried me way high up, facing forward. And all I saw was a hand in front of me. And it had red hair, long red hair, and a gray hand. And it took off so fast through the forest that I called it a Disney ride. I felt like I was on a Disney ride. And all I could hear was the breathing of the thing and the breaking of the branches. And I remember in my mind going, oh, my legs are hurting because the branches were hitting my leg because I was dangling. And right when I did that thought process, another hand came around and picked up and like cradled me like a baby. But then I faced it, and then I must have passed out. So then
Wow.
the story from my mom and dad is they realized I didn't come back after just a few seconds. And then so everybody, my dad went up there and all they found were my flip-flops. And so then the men, all the moms stayed on the beach shore because the other kids were playing. They didn't want to alarm anybody. And they thought I couldn't have gone far because I didn't have my flip-flops on. I didn't have my shoes on. I'm in my bathing suit. So they're all calling, the men are all calling for me. Well, I was gone for like a few hours. And that's in the 60s where they didn't have cell phones. And then they were ready to take a boat out to go get some help. But one of the guys investigated a cove, but he decided to go back there and just see if I fell in the water, you know. And so he found nothing. So he turned to leave. And as he turned to leave, he said he heard a splash. And when he turned around, it was my body face down with my life preserver next to me, which my dad is naval. And so it was in military knot where even my dad has a hard time getting that off me. And so whatever it was, it took it off me. And then he got me out, and I probably just passed out, but he resuscitated me. And anyway, long story short, my dad came and goes, why did you run away? How did you get so far away? You know, and why didn't you answer it? I mean, I started getting in trouble, you know. And then he saw all the cuts on my leg because it was the branches were hitting me. And so that was the story. I'm glad I lived through that. I'd like to do a regression one day to see what happened.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember
That's
anything.
crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And then just to let you know, probably about 4 years ago, I had a Sasquatch at my window here. I didn't report it because there's no reason to, but I had the window open. It was a hot night. I have my couch over here. So I'm 5 steps away from the window, and I'm working on my computer on the couch. I had a Yorkie dog at the time laying there, and it was dark. It was probably about 9 o'clock at night. And I just felt something was watching me. And I look at my window, and I'm on a corner lot, and I have a light, a street light right at the corner because I'm corner. And so I could see the street light as a halo, but I have this huge, massive tree right here out the window. And it only showed from here up. So I think I tried to measure it. It's about almost 6 feet, the window up, this window. And so I only saw from here up. And then all of a sudden the eyes went to car lights. It just went, phew. I mean, I'm not kidding. It was like car lights. And when that happened, it paralyzed me. I was just paralyzed. And so then I did lose time. I did lose a little over an hour of time. And the only reason I know that is because when it was done, whatever, it lowered itself from the window. And so when we disengaged with the eyes, I woke up. And when I woke up, I jumped off the couch and I went, holy crap. And I ran to my bedroom and I closed the door and I left my dog out here. And the window's like wide open. If this is a Sasquatch, it just go ping and come in. And I went, oh my gosh, it's going to come in. So I thought, what am I going to do? So I come out and I slammed the window shut. I grabbed my dog and I ran back into the bedroom. And I call my friend and he goes, go outside and see if there's anything out there, like a footprint or anything.
That's what I'm thinking.
Went outside. It's dark. I'm not. So in the morning I did. And I don't know if you know, but they make X's out of twigs or branches.
Mm.
And it's a signature letting you know that they were here or something. And so right where the window was, there's an X on a twig. They put it as an X. And I
Wow.
still have X's because this tree here, the branches fall down, and I get X's all over the place still.
Oh.
So
you've had ongoing interactions with them. Interesting.
just those two. Those two.
It's
And I'll
incredible.
tell you something else later when we're off air. But
what really quick, I just wanted to mention, so Shasta Lake is near Redding, California.
yes.
Okay. I'm
Goes near Mount
that's my
Shasta.
hometown.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you probably had lots of experiences there.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh wait, Shasta, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's my stomping grounds.
So let me just show that. Michael is one of my best friends. I think I told you, Amy, about Michael.
Yes. Hi, Michael.
And so yeah, he's the one that edited and put my books together. So he's a great person. So all right, you guys, I think we're good. I appreciate you guys coming on my show. Let's do it again and bring friends.
It was a delight. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's great meeting you. Thank you so much for having us on the show.
Nice to meet you too. So if you guys want to get a hold, and Daniel, thank you so much for working on the chat. I'm really bad at that. So I saw you pinging in, so I appreciate you.
Yeah, me too.
I actually can't see anything to type, so
it's too little. I can't even read it.
I know. See, we need Daniel's young eyes.
It's okay. This is why I work in tech. I can help everyone.
Okay,
on that, so.
Well, I appreciate you. Okay, you guys. So you guys stay tight with me, Amy and Daniel, and everybody else. Thank you for joining us. All the people that will join us later, because I'm going to put this on Patreon, and just hit that subscribe button and like button. It just helps the channel grow. We do have your friend Jeff Silver coming on in July.
Nice.
And so we're going to talk about his second book because I'm a reader. And so we covered his first book already. So we're going to talk about the second book and probably more of his experiences. And then we have Mike Patterson, who I'm very excited. He is a Bigfooter in Canada. And he has a Sasquatch that he's been communicating with where he lives in the forest. And it actually speaks. And that he was one of my very first, after I had encounters, I wanted to research other people that had encounters. And so he has a lot of verbiage. And I want him to post this again. He calls it Neff. It's a male. And he calls it Neff. And it says, I swear it said, I love you, Mike, in one of the audios, but in a gargled way. And also talk to you about Sasquatch really quick. One little thing is when they talk, they have linguists that discovered this, that they talk on the exhale and they talk on the inhale. So a lot of their verbiage is not broken. You know how we have to breathe in when we talk and it exhale, but try talking when you inhale air and keeping it smooth. So I thought that was pretty interesting information. Awesome. So you guys, peace out. We will see you soon. And so we have lots of good things coming up. And I also just happened to get a lady that does hypnotherapy for experiencers. And we're going to have her on the show in a couple months. So, okay. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you.
Daniel and Amy's hang.